Coming up in your live and local afternoon news at 4, expert opinion on what caused the Inskip Point sinkhole. Could more have been done to save domestic violence victim Luke Batty? Outrage from Queensland footy fans as the price of airline tickets to the grand final skyrocket. The billion-dollar development which will change the Gold Coast skyline. And should alcohol be served on the beach? Join the debate. Those stories and more in 7's afternoon news soon.
This is 7's afternoon news, live and local across Queensland.
Hello and welcome to 7's afternoon news. I'm Kendall Gilding. The top stories this Monday: more families forced to leave Inskip Point as experts shed more light on the natural sinking phenomenon. A water main bursts, flooding homes and backyards as helpless residents watch on. Airfares to Sydney soar as fans try to fly south for the first all-Queensland NRL Grand Final. Geotechnical engineers say a huge hole that's appeared at Inskip Point was formed by a nearshore landslide, not a sinkhole. The site where a caravan and car was swallowed continues to be monitored as more families are forced to leave the popular camping spot. Natasha Squarey has more.
The exclusion zone around this hole was extended overnight and a further 160 campers were evacuated, taking the total number to 300.
The Victorian Coroner says police missed many chances to prevent the murder of Luke Batty. After a 13-day inquest, Ian Gray found Luke's death was ultimately unforeseeable, but it also wasn't in vain, calling the country to action on domestic violence. Emily Angwin has more.
The murder of Luke Batty was described by the coroner as the tragic loss of a young life full of promise.
The final tickets will be released from this afternoon.
It's going to be a big weekend. Let's check on today's weather now with meteorologist Tony Auden. Tony, there are plenty of storms out west.
Good afternoon, Kendall. Yes, it's been quieter storm-wise in the southeast today, but unsettled weather is picking up across the rest of the state. Checking the radar, we can see a band of showers and storms extending from the Gulf country through the central west and down towards the Wide Bay and Capricornia districts. We've even seen the odd cell sneaking down towards the northern Sunshine Coast, where some small hail was reported earlier this afternoon. It is all forming ahead of a trough line, but it's fairly scattered, so we won't see any decent widespread rainfall. But what is falling has been very welcome. These shots from Pete Lewis from Winton show a little bit of rain falling, and also some great shots from Julia Creek today, though unfortunately less than half a millimetre has been recorded there. The storm season is expected to keep picking up over the next few months, so hopefully we can see plenty more sites like these. And we could see some storms returning to the southeast tomorrow. Kendall, I'll have the forecast coming up soon.
Great to see some rain out west. Thanks, Tony. Still to come in this Queensland edition of 7's afternoon news. The world braces for an extraordinary announcement from NASA about Mars. And the Pope goes to jail to cap off his US tour. To breaking news now from the Gold Coast, where police are hunting a man wanted over an armed robbery. Live to Eamon Atkinson at our Surfers Paradise Bureau. Eamon, what more can you tell us?
Good afternoon, Kendall. Well, police are at Arundel at the moment. They've set up a cordon around an industrial area near some bushland at the moment.
The Gold Coast has long been Australia's best-known holiday destination for surf, sun, sand and partying. So is it time to allow alcohol to be served on the beach, or would beach bars ruin the family fun? The full story on plans for new businesses on the beach coming in this Queensland edition of 7 News. Why there's a thick smoke haze between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. And Aussie meerkat mania as some new babies take their first look at the big wide world.
This is 7's afternoon news, live and local across Queensland.
Thanks for watching 7's afternoon news. Today's top stories. Government engineers are calling the Inskip Point sinkhole a near-shore landslide. The site has already swallowed a caravan and a car. A shopper is recovering from a terrifying carjacking, allegedly by a teenager, outside a Sunshine Coast supermarket. Excitement is already at fever pitch for the first ever All-Queensland NRL Grand Final. But airfares from Brisbane and Townsville to Sydney have skyrocketed ahead of this weekend's clash. Today marks International Freedom of Information Day. To explain why you should care, Seven's Right to Information editor Alison Sandy joins me. Alison, what is Right to Information Day?
Thanks, Kendall. Well, it may sound dry, but Right to Information Day is something to celebrate. It's about every person's right to access information about themselves or about the government. And this sort of information is what we go for all the time.
Definitely sounds like something worth celebrating. Thank you for joining me, Alison.
Thank you.
Checking finance now, and joining us today is Martin Lakos from Macquarie Private Wealth. Martin, a better start to the share market's trading week. What's behind that?
Yeah, Kendall, good afternoon. Yeah, a pretty solid day. We closed up 71.5 points today. That's about 1.5%. It does appear from the last month's volatility that we've seen, the markets are getting pretty oversold. So there seems to be some bargain hunting coming into the market. Today, we had good performances by the banks. Commonwealth Bank up 1.7%. Really good performance out of Amcor in the materials space, up 2.3%. And the discretionary space also doing pretty well. We saw some takeover activity also in the IT sector. So we're looking for the markets to rebound a little bit through the rest of the week.
Martin, what economic data is out this week?
For Australia, we've got retail sales and building approvals. That's coming out on Wednesday. Internationally, we've got China and US manufacturing data, and that's obviously very important for global markets, along with the US employment data on Friday. So that's going to keep us pretty busy, Kendall.
Martin Lakos from Macquarie Private Wealth, thank you. Teaching a child to swim is one of the most important skills a parent can provide, but the cost of swimming lessons can be too much for many. Now, as part of Learn to Swim Week, over 150 swim schools are offering free lessons for under fives.
September through to the end of February is when most of the drownings occur in the under fives. Last year, we lost 26 little kids to drownings in this country.
The Kids Alive program offers 5 free swimming lessons, so you can enrol online and learn pool safety at the Learn to Swim website. Ahead in Queensland's afternoon news, plans for a new Chinese high-rise on the Gold Coast to dwarf Q1. And drinking alcohol on the sand, the push for beachfront businesses on the Gold Coast. Let's have a quick look at today's sport now. Here's Webby.
Thank you, Kendall. Hello, everyone. Retiring Broncos skipper Justin Hodges is battling concerns on 2 fronts before Sunday's grand final. The veteran trained on his own in clear discomfort with a back injury before completing the paperwork to confirm he'll fight a dangerous throw charge at the judiciary tomorrow night. Now, Kendall, coming up at 6, we've got an exclusive interview with Anthony Milford and why Sunday will be so emotional for him. It's one of those behind the scenes sort of thing. It's really quite touching. And of course, the Dally M and Brownlow red carpet pictures.
As if it wasn't a big enough week.
Well, exactly. Yes, exactly.
We'll see you at 6. Thanks, Webby. To today's talking point, do you think alcohol should be served on Gold Coast beaches? Council is considering whether to open up more areas along the glitter strip for commercial use. That could include cocktail bars, corporate events and other dining experiences. Here's what some beachgoers had to say about the proposal. So what do you think? Should Queenslanders be served alcohol on the beach? To have your say on today's talking point, head to our 7 News Queensland Facebook page. Weather with Tony is just ahead in 7's afternoon news. Also, Justin Bieber rocking a rooftop in Melbourne. And if you think this bright pink Barbie fishing rod is a toy, think again.
Good afternoon, Dave Andrews in the Good Life Health Club's traffic chopper. Well, a fairly good run on most of the roads this afternoon, although these 2 cars came together on Nursery Road westbound in the right lane, just at the intersection of Logan Road through Holland Park West. The major's not doing too badly, getting a little bit busy on the Pacific Motorway though as you make your way outbound, out through the Gabba and Greenslopes. And live active your way. Join Good Life Health Clubs right now from as little as $14.95, plus get 30 days free, only for a limited time. T's and C's apply. Have a great afternoon. I'll check the roads again for you tomorrow.
This weather report brought to you by the final days of Beacon Lighting's up to 50% off everything sale. Now with further discounts. Shop in store or online.
Good afternoon, you're watching 7 News. Checking the weather now, and a trough lying across Queensland has triggered a large band of storms right across the state, though rainfall has been light and patchy for the most part. Onto the forecast chart, a couple of other troughs will try their best across the country, but they won't have a big impact on the nation's weather. But the Queensland trough is set to become quite active tomorrow, triggering more storms across eastern parts of the state during the afternoon. So around the nation tomorrow, Melbourne, Hobart and Canberra could all see a couple of showers. An early shower, then a warm top or a hot top of 33 degrees in Darwin, and all other interstate capitals should remain dry. Back to Queensland, and in the north, dry with some patchy cloud across the major centres, though there could be a few storms bubbling away inland. 29 the top in Cairns, 28 for Townsville and Mackay, and up to 31 in Mount Isa. Heading south, a little more active with afternoon storms likely across a fairly large area, but they should focus in a line from about Longreach through to the southeast, tops of 27 for Gympie and Maryborough. So in the southeast, a mostly dry morning, then we'll see showers and storms picking up during the afternoon. There could be the odd severe cell, maybe some hail in the mix as well. 13 up to 25 degrees on the Golden Sunshine Coast, and a fairly warm 28 in Ipswich. Moving on to Brisbane, a 60% chance of wet weather all up, so maybe pack the brolly. 13 degrees overnight, then a warm top of 26 degrees. Sunset is at 5:48 p.m, and tonight keep an eye on the eastern sky at around 6 p.m. There'll be a supermoon, or the closest and largest full moon of the year. Kendall will have some shots of that supermoon and the 7-day forecast coming up in the 6 p.m. news.
Thanks, Tony. Secrets out. Let's check in on what's coming up in the news at 6 now with Bill McDonald. Bill fears that the sinkhole up at Inskip could get bigger.
Yeah, it's a real worry, Kendall. It has experts concerned as well. They've spent the day there examining the massive area that collapsed. It's stable now, but that could all change, of course. It's hard to pinpoint these things. We'll have some new pictures to show you tonight and hear what the engineers think may have actually caused it.
At Inskip,
That's the one. He got about.
Justin Bieber got me so
Bieber
flustered.
fever. It's gripped you.
Some important research results tonight for diabetes sufferers.
Yeah, this is an important story, Kendall. It's a significant breakthrough, and Dr. Andrew Rochford, our resident health expert, will explain how a new drink could help control diabetes. And it's a development, of course, that could assist to more than 1 million Australians. So we'll have that story exclusively at 6.
And also details of a grand final rort for the Queensland fans.
Oh, who would have thought, Kendall? Grand final week. It's an all-Queensland decider, of course, being played in Sydney, and that is costing fans big time. Airfares from Brisbane and Townsville have skyrocketed. Even the price of hotel rooms down south, they've jacked them up as well. We'll have a look at what can be done, and of course we'll also hear from our Queensland League legends Webcke and Gilly about what the Broncos and Cowboys can expect in their grand final week. It's a great week of the year.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Kendall.
Now let's check in on what's happening online. Pictures of the blood moon are flooding social media. Sky watchers in the Northern Hemisphere got a glimpse of the phenomenon last night. It's a rare combination of a lunar eclipse with the closest full moon. Unfortunately, social media is as close as we'll get to seeing the blood moon here in Queensland. And a little girl has shown up her dad on a fishing trip. Avery proved her pink plastic Barbie fishing rod is no toy, landing a 2-kilogram bass.
Yes, I got one! Finally!
High five.
Very impressive. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can join the conversation by following 7 News Queensland on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for watching 7's afternoon news live and local across Queensland. Stay with us now for the Chase Australia, all of your local, national and international news coming up with Bill and Sharon in 7 News at 6.